think Super Hitler would be a problem, but I think other solutions would arise to combat that problem pretty quickly, just like World War II. So what I'm basically saying is, this is
Castle Wolfenstein it.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Castle Wolfenstein 2, I think, is where the Castle Wolfenstein 2 is where the Mecha Hitler is. Or is that number 1? I don't know. Go ahead and leave it in the comments down below. Which Wolfenstein it was. Anyway, was that all you had to add?
Was that something to add?
I don't know. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and move on to today's topics. Which, I got to get out my notebook for this to sound like we actually planned this.
Well, yeah, fluff that paper around that microphone.
Yeah. What did I write in this notebook? Oh, yeah, this is the new notebook that I got. All right, so today's topic, the first topic is we're gonna talk about a game that we recently played, and that game is called where is you have it? It's right
it's
underneath
part
that.
Of my mic weight.
Part of your weight, right?
Because if I take too much
King
off,
Kong, Return of the King Kong again.
There it
Wait,
is.
did you get 2 King Kongs?
No, I only got with the one.
Oh, that's that. Okay, it kind of looked like King Kong for a second.
Yeah.
All right, so the game that we are playing, we played it all the way through, is called Lord of the Rings, The Third Age, and we played it specifically on PlayStation 2. It was actually, a game. I'm not going to tell you the review just yet because I gotta give you the table of contents for what the other topic is. And the other topic we have on today's agenda, and it is the most important one, we have to get to it as soon as we're done reviewing the game, and it is World Hunger. We are going to solve that in this podcast today. All right, so the review is actually going to be fairly short. All right, but first we got to get through that review, right? So first off, let's go ahead and talk about the game here for a second. Go ahead and Timothy.
It's Timothy in quotation marks. It's like a Tribe Called Quest. You got to say the whole thing.
Yeah, you got to say the whole thing. So go ahead and give me a rundown of what this game is about. Don't give me your thoughts or feelings about it. Just give me a lowdown of what the game is about. Like, what is Lord of the Rings: The Third Age?
Well, it's mostly if you play or seen the theatrical release of Lord of the Rings, not the extended cut, and you control a group similar to the Fellowship as they follow the Fellowship, but they're like a step behind or something like that.
Hand me the box, Timothy.
Oh, the
In
box.
quotation marks.
He was pointing at something that I didn't understand, and he wanted the game case.
All right, so
Oh, yeah. You should, you know how you flip through your manual? You should flip through the game manual for
Yeah,
the
so,
people.
I'll give you a little bit of ASMR here.
Well, PS2 ASMR.
Yeah, so I have the thing you can...
Ignore the screaming children outside.
Yeah, there are apparently screaming children. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it is very loud from where we are. So we are currently not killing children. But here is the game. You can hear it. All right. Oh, I'm going to describe this game case to you. It's got Lord of the Rings: The Third Age disc, which has the Balrog on it. It's very, very scary. It says Lord of the Rings. Actually, I missed a word there. It says the Lord of the Rings, The Third Age. It's got the little PlayStation logo, DVD-ROM, teen. You can't play it if you're 12 years old. Sucks to suck. Now, it says EA right there. I know you can't
the
see.
seal of bad.
Yeah, the seal actually of good at the time, like 2004.
It was in the game, but
Yeah.
now it's not. That's why it's not their slogan anymore. Because now it costs $3.99 is the game.
Yeah, because when you pop open, when you pop on this disc, it says EA Games. And then it also says New Line Cinema as well, which is the next thing that's right next to EA Games. New Line Cinema, which is the company that put out the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Are they
movies.
even still in service right now? Do they still make movies?
I mean, that's what Google is for.
Excuse me.
You are
Professional.
excused, Timothy, in quotation marks.
Thank you.
But here is, I'm going to take out the booklet, and the booklet has different art than the disc, just letting you know. It says, The Lord of the Rings, The Third Age. And it's got that Balrog again. But then right underneath it, we got a guy in armor with a sword and a shield. He's got a goofy-looking helmet, just to let you know. But I think that's a helmet of the Gondorian Knights. Then we got what looks like a wizard chick. She's got some sort of blue magic. She's in a red garb. But if you look closely at her ears, she looks like an elf. And then on the furthest right, the fourth character looks like a dwarf that kind of looks like Gimli. But it doesn't look like... You can tell that it's not Gimli, partially because it's not Gimli. But then right in the middle, you got Gandalf, who is definitely Gandalf. It is definitely Gandalf. These are characters that are in the game. We're about to get into who they are. I'm going to hand this back to Timothy so that I'm not just talking, because y'all are probably tired of my voice. And it goes in order of
I mean, are you tired?
I'm not tired of my voice ever. Anyway, shit.
As he stares at me when he says this.
Anyway, I am going to go ahead and hand off this book to, or this pamphlet, manual to Timothy, in quotation marks. And he's going to, and these are the characters that appear in order. And who we get to play as. There are various guest appearances, and we'll go into that here in a little bit. But we're going to talk about the 6 main playable characters of this game. Did you just lose them?
No, I found it. I was just flipping through. There's like 6 pages. How could I lose it? So, yeah, there's the 6 characters. You got Barethor from Gondor. He's your mostly tank guy. He's the one you're going to get the most armor and weapons for, because whatever you find on the ground or off mobs is what you get, and he gets everything, it seems like. And then there's Idriel of Lothlorien, the elf, featured on the front of the box. She's got some good spells. We can't figure out how to make her water damage do more damage, but that's okay. We didn't need it. And then there's Elagast of the Dunedain, which is just half Legolas without being an elf. He's just a human with the face of Aragorn. So it's just Archer Aragorn, basically. Hadhod clan of Fundin, which is the not Gimli, even though he's Gimli in every way except not. And then later in the game, because those are the 4 you kind of use for a while, and then Gandalf shows up, and then some other weirdos like, I don't know if you've heard of Legolas or anything like that, but yeah, they're in there too. And then, like, the last 70-ish%, you get Morwen of Penmark, who is a berserker dual axe wielder. But she dies in 1 hit unless you just pump her constitution and defense. And then Eowyn of the Rider Mark, the Rohan guy, who you get, like, at the last 90% of the game. And other than his dispel, we haven't figured out much use for him. And those are the 6 characters, basically. It's just the Fellowship following, or the not Fellowship following the Fellowship.
Yeah. So, Timothy, in quotation marks, go ahead and, tell me your thoughts about the game. Like, the game style, how the game went. Was it worth the money that you bought it for? Would you play it again?
I would play it again, and I would recommend it. I only spent $10 on the game since it is a PS2 game. 15 years later, and after the COVID boon busted, this game would have been $100 a year ago, but now it's not. And it's just, my thoughts on it is it's literally Final Fantasy painted with Lord of the Rings characters. And that's what it is, because the story is we gotta help Aragorn and the Fellowship not die. And that's what they do.
Yeah. I enjoyed the game. We played it on 2-player mode, which on 2-player mode, there are 6 characters. You get to control half of those characters. So if you're player 1, you get to control Barithor, Elagast, and Morrowind. And then if you're player 2, you get to play as Idriel, Theoden, the spear guy. It's a lot of fun playing it 2-player. It's actually... we didn't know how it would go. My only gripe... Well, I have several gripes about the game. Gameplay-wise, it was a lot of fun 2-player, but I felt like in 2-player mode, there should have been... You only are allowed 3 characters on the board, like in a typical, Final Fantasy game, but most times we were fighting like 4+ people enemy-wise. And so in a 2-player mode, I would have really liked it to be like we had 4 characters on the board because, the enemies had like 8 at one point. So it was just... That part was a little confusing, or not confusing, but a little frustrating. But I understand it was like trying to go for like a full Final Fantasy aspect.
But then it's also kind of... When you get the guest appearances like of Gandalf and Legolas and Aragorn and Gimli and all of them, they don't replace any of your 3 party members. They open up a 4th slot, to which I would say, well, just give us the 4th slot anyway, and then the guest appearance just overrides whatever character number 4 is.
Right.
That would be what I would say to fix co-op mode, I guess.
Right. But co-op mode, I'm playing it on my second playthrough right now on Xbox, the original Xbox, not any of this new stuff. I live in 2004 apparently, but I'm noticing on single player, I'm getting to like grind out a bit, but because I know what I'm doing on my second playthrough, which, by the way, you don't have to, it's not about... so there's a little random battle sensor that's like the Eye of Sauron. And we were, trying to figure out how to, get that to not see us.
Because sometimes we would run and it would go away. Sometimes we would stop moving, it would go away. And other times it would just initiate a battle. And we couldn't do much to stop it.
Yeah, and I noticed if you stand in a spot too long, it goes off. If you don't stand in a spot too long, it goes off. If you're looking for a battle, though, if you're trying to initiate random battles, it will not go off. That's what I've noticed. And I'm like, what the heck? But it's a fun game. I would highly recommend it. But I would definitely suggest... We're probably going to go in detail later about this game at some point, but this is our first episode. there's a lot of things that we want to talk about, and this is kind of impromptu. We didn't really have a thing, even though I fooled you with the flipping of the pages. But Lord of the Rings: The Third Age was a good game. I feel like the parts that we played through, like following the Fellowship and all of that was a lot of fun, but it also doesn't make a lot of sense of how like we got to some places faster than other people. So we get to Helm's Deep, right? And we're fighting alongside like Legolas, Aragorn, and Gimli. And we're fighting along them in Helm's Deep, which, by the way, go ahead and just describe Helm's Deep in one word playing that game.
This is a hyphenated word, but it's wave after wave after wave.
Wave after wave after wave. And it's inconsistent, too, with how they're doing the battles, which, I mean, kind of makes sense because the whole Battle of Helm's Deep is inconsistent when you're fighting 10,000 Uruk-hai. Kind of weird. Yeah. But it had its moments, like the first boss the first real boss that we fight is the Balrog, and getting to the Balrog was kind of satisfying, even though it was kind of frustrating because we were in Moria, and Moria was just so large for no reason in that game for it to be like, because there's more stuff that happens in Fellowship rather than just Moria, right? But I guess that's where the most battles are going to happen, I guess. You know, we're fighting goblins and orcs. And we've come across the Balrog, and that's when we first get our guest appearance, which is Gandalf, which is a lot of fun. We almost died. We didn't die until Return of the King. Yep. And it was like we didn't even die during Helm's Deep. We survived that. It's Return of the King when we died twice.
I feel like it was more because that second Morgoth fight in Osgiliath was fairly frustrating.
Oh yeah, we died a total of 3 times, twice in Pendleton Fields. Mm-hmm. Right. Or what is it? Did I say that right? Pendleton? Yeah. I don't think I said that.
No, isn't it the Pelennor Fields?
Pelennor Fields.
Pennelar?
Hold on, I have
Pelennor.
Let me look.
Planar.
I have
Paul. The Paul
I just
Fields.
Called it Pendleton. For some fucking reason.
Like Pendleton Ward Fields.
No.
Is that why he's named the way he is after Tolkien's fiction, the Pendleton Ward Fields?
Pelennor, yeah.
Pelennor. See? We allegedly know things.
We're not like diehard Lord of the Rings fans, but we do enjoy Lord of the Rings. I don't even think there's... You know, what's crazy is they don't have it in the scenes. There's no fight called Fight at the Pelennor Fields.
Because it's like, isn't that the area between Osgiliath and Gondor?
It is.
And then speaking of inconsistencies, now that we figured out the mystery of the name... So you're in there, right? And you got to fight the remaining 8 ring wraiths after Eowyn kills the Lich King, and you do that, and then you're immediately transported to fighting the Eye of Sauron.
Yeah. By the way,
it's not spoilers, by the way, because it doesn't make sense in context with or without context. So
right, because like we know that in Return of the King. Frodo throws that ring into the fire of Mordor, into the lava of Mordor, and we see the tower just fucking blow up, right? I just burped like fucking...
Professional.
Anyway, in the game, they explain to you how that tower gets blown up. It doesn't get blown up because the ring goes in there. It's because Hadhod did a double attack on the ring. on the Eye of Sauron. We were fighting an eye, by the way. And
the eye that you see in the movies, and we just get teleported up there. No walk. We're just up there, and then Hadhod does a double strike a couple of times, and it dies.
Yeah, and we died to the eye once, and we were like, okay, we're gonna prepare ourselves, and then the eye was inconsistent and didn't do the same thing. Which if it did, it would have like survived a few more rounds, but it didn't put us to sleep or paralyze us like it did the first time we attacked it, and it really screwed the pooch on that. So yeah. Either way, what would you out of 10? What would you rate this game?
It's a solid 7.5. The story itself is kind of dumb, and then characters are in and out of love with each other, and it's not explained. Nothing's explained except, we're following Aragorn and the crew. This is where they are now, so therefore this is where we are. And that could use some work, but that's okay. They only had the rights to the movies and not the books. It could use an animation skip, but that's the PS2 era for you. After the 10,000th double strike slash or water burst attack, you get kind of done with it. But other than that, and also explaining what happens between the Ring Wraith fight and the Eye of Sauron, that would be great.
Yeah. I think my favorite thing is we are the test group in the game. We are the test group for the actual Fellowship.
There are cutscenes of what Gandalf and Aragorn do.
Yeah, so like, you know how like Gandalf surprises Aragorn and Gimli and Legolas in the forest, and they're like, oh, who is this guy? And like Gandalf breaks Gimli's axe for no reason, right? Doesn't he like blow up his axe?
It's because Gimli gets startled and attacks him, I thought.
Oh yeah, I think so, but like Gimli's like axeless for a little bit. Anyway, he does that to us, but not as dramatic. And then he goes like, oh, I'm going to go see the Fellowship real quick. And we're just going, oh, so we were the test group. We were like, oh, hey, did that look cool? Like if I do that to Aragorn, are they going to shit their pants? Did you guys shit your pants when you saw me?
Because all he does is the big reveal and robe reveal, and our party's like, Gandalf. And then Gandalf's like, okay, I got to go. Bye.
And then like Aragorn, like when Barethor is like happy that you healed Morrowind for some reason, he like bows to Aragorn and he's like, Aragorn, thank you. And Aragorn's like, and this is straight ripped from the movie. Like they didn't even get, shoot, I forgot his name. Viggo Mortensen, right? For the role in the game, and Aragorn's like, you bow to no one, to Barethor, and I'm just thinking, I'm like, oh, so you're just gonna say that right to fucking Frodo the next time you see him, or you just like, are we the test group for your one-liners? And that's true. They have to explain that the whole game is the explanation. By the way, we fight the Balrog, right? How many times did Gandalf fall off that ledge?
He falls twice, technically, because he falls the first time with the Fellowship, because when you're in Moria, they're on a flight that's above you, because you see some things fall, like when, Pippin knocks that skeleton off, you see that skeleton fall. And then, so Gandalf falls the first time, and then is fighting the Balrog on a second bridge that you help him fight in. You do it, and then he does the you shall not pass again and falls a second time.
Wild. Now, how many times did we see that one orc, warg, and troll in Minas Tirith? in the cutscenes. How many times did we see that?
I think it showed up like 3 times.
Oh yeah. By the way, what we're talking about is they have they have animated cutscenes from the game, right? They're not as great, but they have actual cutscenes narrated by actual Ian McKellen as Gandalf from the movie. Narrating the movie bits of like, you're going to Rohan because the king is corrupt right now because of Saruman, and you must fix that. Which, by the way, we fight Grima Wormtongue, easiest boss battle in the whole game. But it was kind of cool seeing movie bits until they just keep replaying them over and over and over and over again.
We brought up, like, I wonder how many kids, this is how they experience Lord of the Rings, is through this game. Through these taken cutscenes with Ian McKellen talking over them. And sporadically cut with multiple reappearances.
Now, Timothy, in quotation marks, you gave this, what was your score again?
Like a 7.5.
7.5?
What's yours?
My score would have to be probably in that same realm of like 7.5, maybe even a 7. It's a really good RPG. Well, when I say really good, I don't mean like it's the best. It's just like if you haven't played an RPG in a while and you want like something in the Lord of the Rings vein that's not like Shadow of Mordor or anything like that, you could like play this game. It's actually a lot of fun. Yeah.
Sorry, just real quick. One thing I forgot. One thing that ticked it down is there's no like shop system or something. So you kind of just, whatever equipment you either find in boxes on the floor or from random fights or key fights is just the equipment you get.
Level design could have been a lot better. There's no map for us to like look at. There's one mini map, and that's on your HUD, and you can't like access that map except through the HUD, which is just a little upsetting. But yeah, the game Lord of the Rings: The Third Age. I think, what's our definitive score? You gave it a 7.5.
Yeah, that's what I gave
it a 7. So average 7.25.
That's a pretty good score.
It's a pretty good score for a game that came out in 2004. Now, on to our special guest, which is Helen from accounting. I'm going to go ahead and grab her.